You up for one last job, Billy?
Who's the mark?
The black-eyed bastard responsible for all the chaos.
We're gonna kill the outsider.
For those new to Dishonored, tell us in broad strokes, what is Dishonored? What's the Dishonored world?
Yeah, so Dishonored takes place in an alt-reality, sort of 1850s, like conceived like an empire based around whaling. And you play a supernatural assassin. You have magic powers and stealth and gadgets, and you can jump from rooftop to rooftop, and you're pursuing these like corrupt aristocratic targets along the way. The thing that makes it a little different is it's all first person. It's very immersive. We detail out every piece of the world and turn you loose in it. You're not just following a trail of breadcrumbs, but you're very free to explore every nook and cranny. And we layer in history and detail into everything.
So moving ahead to Death of the Outsider, I want to point out right away that this isn't DLC, it's not an expansion, this is a true standalone experience.
Yeah.
First of all, what does that mean, and then why was it important for you to make a standalone experience?
Wait. What? The outsider is with a weapon? Everyone stop. Calm down. No, I'm just kidding, we can't calm down. Oh my god! So I have a few theories about this. Okay, I'm good. So I have a few theories about this, among other things I've been working on, but I'm just gonna let this one take a precedence. So what we know of the Outsider, that in past sneak peek gameplay trailers, that it can go in one of two ways, literal or out of context. So with that being said, I wanted to make theories for both options, and I really want to start with the out of context theory, as I have a couple theories about this right from the jump. So, okay, number one, the Outsider isn't really there. This is something that could be related to one of my prior theories, that there won't be any shrines in the game except for perhaps one to show or tell the player that the Outsider will either A, not appear to show you how serious the situation is, or appear and then tell the player how bad of a plan that it is and that he is fully aware of it. This being said, if it is the prior, this could be the Outsider appearing to let Billie know that if she attempts to go through with the plan, that he is not above killing the player. Or this could be him showing Billie the knife that she had just retrieved, because quite honestly, the knife that he forms from the void looks a hell of a lot like the twin blade that killed the Outsider, the same one that is on Billie's arm within the DLC, saying that, I know what you have, and I know that you intend to kill me, or some manner. But honestly, if we can get anyone who can read lips, that'd be really awesome to know what he's actually saying in this clip. Okay, so number two, Dreamsider. Perhaps this is the Outsider drawing Billie into a dream, warning or even taunting about knowing about the plan. So moving on to more literal theories, I do indeed have a few. So number one, Endgame. As for a more literal context, this could be endgame footage, either right before the battle or just after it, where you either spare the Outsider as Billie, and then he chooses to either kill Billie or spare Billie, perhaps even depending on your overall chaos level within the game, which would actually make a lot of sense because Arcane Studios is known for doing that. Look at Prey, for example. Or, if it's right before battle, this could be the Outsider drawing his weapon getting ready to fight Billie. And P.S. if the endgame battle where you choose to kill the Outsider is a straight up Billie versus Outsider one-on-one match, I can only imagine vividly how bloody badass the Outsider's gonna be. And I could also see him appearing behind Billie a lot, and not at all playing fair, quotes in the air, when you meet him in the void, because no. Fuck that shit. Also, just a shout out, I never implied that the Outsider was immortal, I simply implied that Daud's plan is not how he dies. Just get that cleared out in the air. It has been said that the Outsider can foresee his own death, but he doesn't really care about it too much. So it is known that the Outsider is indeed gonna die, but I only suggest that it will not be by Daud's or Billie's hand. Just putting that out there. So number two, shanking Daud, quotes in the air. This goes against everything I've said in the past. So we know you can't play Daud, right? And I still believe wholeheartedly, whole in my core heartedly, that the Outsider's gonna kill Daud in a way. Now, previously I said, and I don't mean he's just gonna straight up shank Daud. Come on guys, he's gonna do it in like a classy Outsider way. Or cute baby whale god. being all classy like. But after seeing that the outsider indeed has a weapon, what if instead of Billie that he's looking at, Billie being the playable character of the DLC, but instead he's looking down at Daud? Because if you look, he has a very downward glare that he is giving whomever he is looking at. And we even see in Dishonored 1 that the outsider can indeed draw Daud into the void fairly frickin' easily. My god, this is turning into a Daud's Theory Part 4. I promise this is not the case. Anyway, with that being said, it could also be possible that instead of unlinking the mark, as I theorized prior that kills him, it really is just the outsider straight up shanking Daud. Yeah, because whomever he is looking at is either kneeling or collapsed on the ground. So, could this be Daud that we are seeing this through? Perhaps we're even seeing the end of Daud's death scene, just out of context. Maybe Daud is collapsed on the floor because of the mark. Even if I theorized correctly prior, and that the outsider did disconnect the mark, it doesn't mean that he himself does not still have access to it. I mean, it is his mark after all. So could it be that in this moment we are seeing Daud on the void's ground looking up to the outsider just after he drew Daud into the void, probably sometime after Billie and Daud have found a way into the void, forming the sword with the intent to kill him. Also, he's probably gonna have a ton of exposition because that's kind of his character in essence. I feel like that's part of the reason why he gets a lot of hate. Perhaps we finally find out what the fuck happened between Daud and the outsider and what made them detest each other so bloody much. So if this theory is correct, I suppose I'm probably gonna have to take back my entire "come on guys, the outsider isn't just gonna shank Daud here" theory. Also, if this theory is correct, I would have been incorrect in theorizing that this would be the first time that we ever see the outsider straight up killing somebody as well. Oh, just to add a note to this theory, I am not suggesting that you get to play Daud for a split second of a cutscene. What I'm actually suggesting is that perhaps the reason you see the outsider doing this in first person view, if it is Daud, is because Billie is seeing this occur with her ability to foresee the future with the eye of the dead god, stone that's crammed into her freaking eye. And this might, again, as I mentioned in prior theories, be what sets Billie off to follow through with her mentor's work. Yeah. Okay, number 3, narrative. I'm also going to note that within this gameplay footage where everything's frozen, this is very resemblant of how everything is frozen at the credits within the prior Dishonored games, where the outsider would retell the tale of everything the player just did within the game and what happens after. So this interests me, like, perhaps even if you do kill the outsider, that he would still narrate the ending, perhaps in a view that he saw it before he was killed, or this entire section could be narrated by Billie if the outsider is killed instead. And that might make a more logical, probably most likely answer. Or, if he is spared, this would just be him narrating it as he would normally. Although I think he would do things a bit differently, whether or not he spares Billie is really, really questionable presently. Also, I'd like to make note that in the freeze frame of the Void narrative, I cannot help but notice a rather lack of Daud. To note, as well, I recently come up with an idea that perhaps Daud's death might be more of a result of high or low chaos from Billie. That might be entailed, but don't quote me on that. Number 5, the arm on his hip. So, if you're like me and replay it 1,000 times, you would notice that the outsider's left arm is on his hip as he forms the blade and then relaxes it a moment later. This could be that he's just showing the blade or speaking to the viewer in a very casual yet serious manner. This could be him just being him with that kind of snippy demeanor that he has right before he proceeds with the intentions for the sword / blade that he just created with the Void. To note, some just released footage shows the outsider pushing his hand onto the viewer's face, but if you repeat it a couple dozen times like I have, you can actually see that there's a hand trying to stop him, and by the looks of it, it's Billie's hand. So I have a theory that the reason he's doing this is for one of two reasons. Number one, I'm gonna have to reevaluate my entire theory about, I don't think the outsider would kill Billy if he spared him theory. And again, he might or might not, depending on your chaos level. I highly think this is gonna be something that's implemented in Dishonored. Maybe. Or, number two, Billie has the eye of the dead god crammed in her frickin' eye, which gives her previsions of the future. It would make sense if the outsider was intending to rip it out, either after you spare him or just before battle. But now that I see this, we know for sure that Billie's gonna get up close and personal with the outsider in a one-on-one battle. Maybe she'll finally get to know what he smells like. Yeah, Billie, I still remember that. Can't get away with that one. Ugh. Weirdo. What does he smell like? Well, now you get to find out, because he's literally gonna put his hand on your face. Maybe. Unless it's Daud that he's... But it didn't look like Daud's hand. It was very feminine, and there is, like, stuff. It looked like the gun that's, like, part of her hand, and that's, like, a Billie thing, so... Anyhow, this is just a theory, and should be taken with a grain of salt, as I could 100% be wrong on all accounts. Made for fun, don't take anything I say as facts. Seriously. Thank you so much for watching. New Life 2586, The King Studios, signing out, guys. Bye!